What's going on, everybody? I'm Manny. Welcome back to the channel. So right now I'm in Wakataki, Texas, which is south of Dallas. I'm here to pick up an auction truck. I got the fifth wheel boom setup on the truck right now. But I'm here at a quick trip. I'm actually going to pull up to one of the fuel pumps real quick and air up one of my tires, because I guess when I parked here last night, I hit so many bumps that the valve was coming loose and it was letting out air pressure. And two of my tires are kind of low right now, so I'm gonna just air it up real quick. Where I'm parked at this quick trip, where I need to pick up this auction truck, will be on the opposite side of the highway. So I took that drive out here last night, and then I stayed the night at the truck stop, and then we're gonna go ahead and hook up to this auction truck and head back to San Antonio. But yeah, a bunch of construction going on in this area right now. It's a little tricky to get out of here, but no issues. First, I'm gonna just go ahead and take care of these tires, and then we're gonna go ahead and start our day and try to get out of this Dallas area. All right, guys. So the whole tire situation didn't work out. None of these valves are really good right now. So I got enough tire pressure in my truck. I'll just deal with it when I get back to San Antonio. But yeah, we're fixing to head 2 miles around the loop here and get to the other side. And hopefully they're open right now. It's at 8:40. They're supposed to open at 9, but hopefully the facility is open so I can just check in and give them my paperwork. Let me see here. How do I get out of here? I'll take a left. Okay. So I'm gonna take this left right here. There's a bunch of construction down here. Bunch of construction. It was kind of tricky to get out of here because I came in last night and I had a hard time just even getting into this this fuel stop. There was just barriers everywhere. So but I got here last night because I didn't want to deal with the traffic, and I wanted to make sure I had adequate sleep. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this left turn at the light up here. Again, we're just 2 miles down the road here. It's gonna take us around in a square. Yeah, guys. So, all right, it's a Volvo. Let's just be real. It's a Volvo. The Volvos, are pretty cheap. I've had good experience with the Volvos. To run the Amazon Relay account, a Volvo is just fine. You just need to have mechanics in place who know how to repair certain things. Now, for repair work, when it comes to the exterior of the motor, any of your Migos mechanic can repair. When it comes to the internal, that's where they don't want to touch it. So you definitely want to find a mechanic who knows how to mess with Volvos, which I already have one. That's why I have to take my injector to a different shop, which I already am familiar with the shop. So you kind of already have to have a Volvo mechanic in place when you're buying one of these Volvos, because if none of these Migos mechanics can repair something, at least you have the actual Volvo mechanic that you can take it to that can repair any of the internal of the motors. But for the Amazon Relay account, if you pay attention, there's a lot of Volvos. It is a reliable, for me, it is a reliable truck. This particular truck has a Cummins. The other Volvo has a Volvo motor in it, which is the D12 pre-emissions, and it had a lot of good reviews for that year pre-emissions. It's probably one of the best motors that Volvo has made so far for that year. It was pre-emissions. So this one that we're picking up is a 2017 Volvo with the D13. Okay, so it's got the D13, and That's gonna be just fine to run Amazon Relay. Now, when it comes to run Amazon, you don't need an expensive truck. Okay, I mean, a couple years ago, I paid $15,000 cash for this truck. Over a year and a half, almost 2 years, I paid 9,800 for the other Volvo. So you can get an idea that what I probably paid for this auction truck, it's not going to be more than $15,000. Um, but it's a 2017, so it's going to have the emissions stuff on it. Um, but when you take it to the right Migos mechanic, that can get all the emission stuff can get taken care of. Uh, but this Volvo has a little bit of, I don't want to say, but it's missing some panels, which is completely fine. It is going to need a new set of steers, which is completely fine. And I believe it needs an air dryer. But this fifth wheel setup, I'm new to using one of these. And the only thing I didn't like about this whole experience about getting the fifth wheel was the time that it took to get it. I just had the guys that I rented this off of weren't very dependable. I pretty much was waiting at the location for a little over 3 hours because they were the only location in San Antonio renting one, or I was able to rent one, and then their forklift was dead, so then I had to use my truck to jump their forklift, and then it just was taking forever just to mount it on the truck and all this nonsense. And I'm paying, what is it, $200 a day to rent this. So yeah, that's what I'm paying to rent this right now. So if I could, I would rather purchase my own and keep it at the garage, which I am in the talk of just getting one, because there's places out here in Dallas that make them. So I am still thinking about just getting one so I can save a lot more time, as well as save money on towing if I get some type of breakdown. If I get some type of breakdown, yeah, this GPS is gonna take me down the road I shouldn't be going. So if I get a breakdown, I can save money on tolls. So okay, so this was gonna take me down a road I shouldn't go. So I'm gonna go back the original way that I was already planning on taking. I just wanted to see if there was another way out of here, out of that fuel stop, that was just a little bit easier. All right, guys. So I lost a little bit of my audio here. So here I'm doing some audio recording over the video here, and you see I got to the truck. I'm doing my walk around. Well, when I initially got to the truck didn't want to start, and it was in a tight parking spot. So I had to drag it out with some chains, and the mechanics on site helped me drag the truck out. And obviously, we dragged the truck out far enough to where I can now inspect the truck and check everything out and get ready to hook up. So you see, I'm going through the inside and outside, just making sure that it is the correct truck that was in the video. And I'm just walking over everything because this is the first time I'm seeing the truck in person, and I just want to make sure everything matches up with the photos. And you see, I'm looking under the bunk, trying to figure out what this setup here is under the bunk because I've never seen that. Again, I have two Volvos, and underneath the bunk is pretty empty, but there's some type of APU heater setup there. And yeah, guys, so this is my first time doing a tow setup. So you see, I got the truck backed up, trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. Now, initially, throughout this video, you're going to see that I'm chaining the truck up. And the way I chain the truck up is incorrect. Yeah, so I did not chain up the truck correctly. We had an OG tow guy there who was the father of the yard, or no, the owner of the yard. He was watching me and asking me some questions about the tow setup. And he came out there to actually give me some advice. So you see I'm chaining this up here, but eventually this is all going to come out because I'm gonna actually follow his advice
and do it the correct way, because I don't want to leave the yard with the tow setup that's incorrect, right? Because it would be unstable and unsafe, and I just want to make sure I get back to San Antonio as safely and the correct way as possible. So you'll see in the next couple seconds that I begin chaining, and I'm wrapping the chains around the axle. Again, I probably should have watched the YouTube video and went to YouTube University before I started chaining. I just figured it was going to be easier said than done, but that was not the case. You can see I started chaining from the inside of the axle, and it should be from the outside of the axle there where you should start your chaining. Uh, so yeah, the father comes out. He ends up giving me some pointers on how to actually chain, and then you'll see that he'll come out, and then I start following his advice, and then the video cuts off. Uh, but I did bring some extra chains, and I was happy that I brought some extra chains with me, because I was unaware that I was gonna have to tie up the front axle. The front rear axle needs to be tied up so that way it could come off the ground very, very smoothly. Because when I tried to first lift the truck off the ground, it did not want to come off the ground because uh, the front axle needed to be tied up with chains. So my extra chains took care of that, and then I ended up chaining everything correctly according to the advice that the father-in-law came, and the son, and they completely helped me out to do the entire setup. So again, what you're seeing here is me going through a learning curve of the incorrect way of to chain up the tow setup, and before I left the yard, I was properly chained up exactly how I needed to be, based off of the experience of the workers that came around to help me out. So you see here, the father comes up. He's asking me some questions. He's speaking a little Spanglish. So he's an OG grandfather there. But he's just giving me some advice to remove the chains and wrap it around the outer axle. And that's what I begin to do. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music here while you guys see me do the incorrect chain setup. And then I properly leave the yard correctly and make it back to San Antonio safely.
we're all hooked up, right? We're towing the Volvo. It's our first tow. I'm gonna be going probably 50 miles an hour or less. Right, I got a little bit of drag because the aerodynamics is getting pulled backwards, and pretty much at the location that I was picking up the Volvo, I had the OG, the father who owned the place. He actually helped me with the chains and all that stuff, or gave me pointers. And obviously, because it was my first tow, I'm gonna take all the pointers from an experienced person who's been doing it a while. So I ended up disconnecting all my chains and following his advice. And because the first time I hooked up, the wheels were not coming off the ground, so I needed to wrap the chains underneath the entire frame, like just under the frame, and then I had to tie the front rear axles. I had to tie those up, and thank God I brought some extra chains with me from the garage. So those chains ended up helping me tie that axle up, so that way both wheels can be off the ground. So now we got about a 4 hour drive back to San Antonio. Uh, the truck did not want to start. I actually had to drag it out the parking spot. Um, I had to drag it out the parking spot. In the ad, it had fuel in it and it ran just fine. But the truck barely wanted to start and the batteries are dead. So I am going to I'm going to put fuel in somewhere in Georgetown. And this truck is going to need a new set of batteries. But instead of bringing it back to my garage, I think I'm just going to drop it off at the shop, right? And have them do the oil change, fuel filters, and then I'm gonna put in a new set of batteries because they was trying to start it with starting fluid, but it just kept shutting off. So I already know it's lost its prime, so it's gonna need a new set of filters. So I'm gonna just drop it off at the shop, save me some time. Uh, but yeah, guys, I'll see you guys uh, in a little bit, and we'll let this video play out with the time lapse. All right, guys. So I made it back to San Antonio. I'm actually at the shop right now. I finished dropping the trailer, or dropping the truck. You can see here, it's all disconnected already. It's at its point where it's gonna get some repairs done real quick. I learned that this box here is a battery box, probably for an APU or something. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here so I can return this right now. But I made it back to San Antonio, and it's at the shop right now. So yeah, guys, got another truck here. I'm gonna try to return this as soon as possible because tomorrow I work and I have other things I would rather be doing than trying to return an item. And it took a couple hours for them to install.